Hi everyone, Sid here in the car after a long day's work. I just wanted to record a quick preamble to apologize. I noticed as I was watching the video that I recorded this morning on my way here that there was basically the microphone on my earbud here was rubbing on the zipper of my jacket, which was a little more open like this. So there is a kind of crackle noise. It's really not that bad. It's quite listenable, but towards the end the road does get a little bumpy, so it gets worse. I just wanted to apologize for that, and I will be more mindful of that in the future. Anyway, I think the importance of this video is kind of obvious, so on that note, the goatee is for a Halloween costume. I haven't had time to shave it off yet. So on that note, let's head straight to the rant. Moving on to today, I was listening to some podcasts and I had sudden inspiration for the topic that I want to talk about right now. I think that this is a point that I didn't address clearly enough when I kind of skimmed around it last time, and I really want to drive this point home because I feel that there are a lot of people with legitimate concerns who are making the conversation much harder on themselves than they have to. So I want to talk about Muslims and Sharia law. So to appease people who are already on edge, I just want to make my point really explicit, is that it's okay to having concerns against Sharia law is totally not controversial. And if you're one of these people who have this knee-jerk reaction to call people Islamophobes, you probably don't want Sharia law anywhere near you either. And I think that people with concerns about migrant crisis and immigration in general are making the conversation needlessly difficult on themselves by not explicitly restricting it to Sharia law. So I have a metaphor, which I'm warning you is going to be shaky as fuck. But I think that as shaky as this metaphor is, I think it'll illustrate the point that I want to make. So, as you know, I'm black. As you may not know, my origin is Haitian. So, naturally, the butt of my metaphor will be Jamaicans. So, let's go off into theory land. So, let's say that all Jamaicans are thieves. And they not only are Jamaicans all thieves, but they proudly wear it. They accept it. They embrace their thieving ways as being good. And whenever you see Jamaicans, they're kind of trying to pick your pockets. And when you slap their wrist away, they're like, "Oh, come on, man. Stealing be great, man. The stealing bring me closer to God. Stealing make me soul sing. I love stealing. How can you not love stealing, man? Stealing be great." And yeah, I smirk and chuckle like that when I'm totally nailing an accent, by the way. So let's continue. So yeah, I've established Jamaicans are all thieves in this fantasy world. Now, let's add the another restraint. Let's say that half of all black people are Jamaicans. Actually, before going on, I just want to do a little tangent on why I'm using the 50% number. So last time I talked about the migrant crisis and immigration, I shared some research that I did very quickly. And I'll say that when I researched the percentage of Muslims that support Sharia law, the lowest number that I found is 19%, which is a scary number in itself because it's 1 in 5 roughly. And it's even scarier when you consider that that's 19% of Muslims in the West who support Sharia law, and it's self-reporting, which means it's a higher number. Now, and by the way, the highest number that I found was about 67%, which is about 2/3. As I mentioned in that video, as I'm repeating now, it's a wildly disparate numbers. It was very difficult to get a clear picture, especially in the very short research that I did. However, working with the 1 out of 5 number, I thought was effective enough for my needs at that time. Now, for this video, I'm going to generalize a bit that if 1 out of 5 Muslims in the West is the strict minimum of Muslims who support Sharia law, then if you take worldwide, it has to be way higher. And if you take Muslims in Syria, I haven't looked this up, but it has to be way higher than 20%. So I'm just going to use 50%. Again, researching for Muslims that are in the West, the numbers varied between 1 in 5 and 2 out of 3. So I think half is a reasonable number to pull out of my ass and to just run with. So continuing, let's say that half of all black people are Jamaicans. So now we know that about half of all black people are proud thieves who wear it on their shoulders, man, and wear it on their sleeves. What me saying? So now let's say that you live in a neighborhood, and the mayor of your city announces a plan to import about, let's take a small number, like 20,000 black people. So the mayor of your town announces a plan to import 20,000 black people in your neighborhood. And you see this and you're like, holy shit, I like my stuff. I know that about half of black people are proud thieving Jamaicans. I'm a little concerned about this. And you, as you voice your opinions I don't think we should be having all these black people move into our neighborhood, obviously you'd be opening yourself to accusations of racism. Like, what do you have against black people, man? So by limiting that to speak in terms of, if we're importing 20,000 black people into our neighborhood, 10,000 of them on average are going to be Jamaicans, right? And we all know Jamaicans and their proud thieving ways. I think that would be a very simple way to make the conversation a lot easier on yourself. So I think that I'm done with that metaphor. I might come back to it, but the point that I'm making is it bugs me so much to see people with legitimate concerns, as I do, about these importing a bunch of Syrian refugees into your country by just leaving that term naked like that, Syrian refugees. Whereas the main concern, the terrorism thing doesn't worry me that much. The Sharia law thing worries me a lot. And I don't want Sharia law anywhere near me, and neither do you. And if you're shocked that I would even approach this topic, you especially don't want Sharia law near you, because I'm assuming that if you're like, oh my God, one of these, run-of-the-mill typical cliche SJW types, that, you care about gay rights and women's rights. And gay rights and women's rights are the two most blatant elephants in the room with regards to Sharia law, without even thinking about it that much. And something else, those 4 out of 5 Muslims that are in the West that don't support Sharia law, I'm sure that they're devout Muslims and they follow the words of the Prophet, pray 5 times a day and all that stuff. But I'm sure that they would appreciate. I'm sure that they appreciate the option, just an option, of converting away from Islam without being murdered. I think that even though none of them could imagine converting away from Islam, that if they did, they would love to continue breathing after doing so. So yeah, it's frustrating. It's been frustrating for me to witness over the past weeks and months people walking right by this really obvious thing without picking it up and making it explicitly about that. And also, as I said a couple minutes ago, the terrorism thing doesn't really worry me that much. But tying it to Sharia law, I seriously doubt that a Muslim who's willing to strap on an explosive vest and yell Allah Akbar and blow statistically himself up into and take a bunch of innocent people with him. Something tells me that this stereotypical terrorist I just described also supports Sharia law. I don't know enough about jihad to elaborate on that much, but I'm guessing, being a poker player, my money's on there's a correlation between support of Sharia law, between support of jihad and terrorism and support of Sharia law. I put it in that order very deliberately. So, I have the nagging feeling there's a point that I'm missing that I wanted to make before saying goodbye. Let me just think. So terrorism, Sharia law. Yes, I'm pretty sure that ISIS is near 100% Sharia law supporters. And again, tying it into immigration, I covered this last time. I'll link to this below. Who does the vetting? I don't trust the person doing the vetting. They're not held accountable. There's no real negative repercussions besides maybe being caught with shrapnel if one of the person that this person lets by is an extremist terrorist. And even the most liberal hippie knows that there are extremist terrorists in Islam. However, focusing on that really makes the conversation difficult. Whereas if you're, let's say, at a party and someone brings the migrant crisis, and you say something like, I kind of do have concerns about that. 20 to 50,000 is a lot. And the person says, oh my God, you Islamophobe, how dare you? Something really quick to counter that would likely at least snap them out of their knee-jerk reaction would be, about 1 in 2 of those people thinks it's a good idea to whip gays and to, I forget the specifics of how shitty Sharia law is for women, but I think the whole producing male witnesses to bring rape accusations has something to do with it. I'd rather stay away from that, but really whipping gays is a clear one, and I think that anyone who is, oh my God, he's an Islamophobe, cares about gay rights. And yeah, I think I have circled around and made all the points I want. So thank you very much for watching this. Please like and share. The timing of this video is kind of deliberate. I've covered on this channel before why, even though I wouldn't show up to vote, I think Trump is the lesser evil. I'll link to that below, and I'll add the asterisk that if Trump beats Sanders by a nose on the issues, he fucking crushes Clinton. And in the debates that I've seen, I am fucking worried about this saber rattling that Clinton has with Russia. I don't know what the fuck is going on in that bitch's brain, but she seems to be playing a game of chicken with Putin. And you know, comparing World War III to grab him by the pussy seems kind of obvious. And if you care about women's rights and are so offended by this grabbing by the pussy thing, then you really don't want Sharia law anywhere near you. And I don't think I can wrap it up any nicer than that. So thank you very much for watching. Please like and share and subscribe if you haven't already. I hope to be producing more of these more frequently. And I thank you very much for watching. You'll find links to my social media below. And thank you very much. Y'all have a good day.